this is the way it normally starts out after I get the assessment. We'll email the client. I'll introduce myself, certainly outline the scope, and this is a time that the salesperson, if we have issues getting the right people engaged at the company, I'll get a hold of the salesperson and say, hey, we need to get these people engaged, because there is categories within the assessment where we need to talk to financial people, we need to talk to quality people, we need to talk to production management, we need to talk to the main person within the company that's running the company or the section that we're talking to. So maybe when you're selling that assessment, we need to keep that in mind, that there's probably 7 or 8 different functions depending on the size of the company that may have an individual for each one of those. And that we will definitely need to talk to them to make the assessment as meaningful as possible. So then I'll call the client and we'll talk about the assessment and the scope, and then I'll reaffirm here, because in the email I've already said I need a person for this. And I'll reaffirm that, try to get the right people participating. And with the virtual deliverable that this can be done, this is even more important, because if we're on site, we can actually ask for the person, right? We can ask for them virtually, but it's harder to get them. But so this is something that we're doing another assessment here next week, and so I'm spending a little more time making sure that we have the right people engaged. Also, with our first virtual assessment, it went well. However, we had a little issue with the blue jeans, and but we was able to get it downloaded on our smartphone, and they actually took us through the plant, and we could see the operation, and we would stop and talk about it, and they showed us the operation as we did the walkthrough on the smartphone. So I'm going to spend a little more time on that up front with the client. We're actually going to do a test before the actual assessment to make sure that we have everything working properly. And then in today's world, when we go on site, if we're going to go on site, we'll have to make sure that we have the PPE requirements of the client. Okay, the assessment questionnaire is in 2 parts, and I've already mentioned those, but here's a little more detail. We have the company profile questionnaire, and like I said, it's a little basic information, but we're going to talk about financial management, and we're going to talk about growth and the things in this area. We do get numbers. They can be, we're not there to get confidential information, but they could tell us, hey, our sales are up 15% over last year, if they don't want to share what their actual sales are. If they're okay with sharing it, then we'll capture that information. We'll talk about compliances and certifications. You see cybersecurity, safety, ISO, environmental, etc. We have a list of questions to identify where they're at in these programs, if they're applicable to them. It's been my experience so far that I do find weaknesses in safety and cybersecurity. So the section B is an operational assessment, and we do have a list of questions that we go through in each of these categories, and they're going to get a score. I'm going to show that to you. But the tour is an important part of the assessment, in that we attempt to validate all these 7 groups here in this operational assessment on the tour. So they may give us an answer. One of them might be, do you have visual controls? And they said, yeah, we've got them. We got them posted on the floor, and we get out there, and they're 3 months old, and they're in some kind of a language that the person on the floor would not mean anything to them, or whatever, So we do validate that to a standard, and they will get a score on this. And then, so then we'll do the walkthrough, and we're looking for these things, particularly in these 6 categories, and we take opportunities as permitted. We are their guest, so we don't just roam around. But we will ask if it's okay to talk to. Sometimes we'll meet a maintenance person on the floor or something like that, and we'll ask them if it's okay to talk with them, and so then we'll talk with them and get information that we're looking for. But we try to see the whole manufacturing operation, including scheduling or anything else that we are afforded the opportunity to see.